everyone, and welcome or hello to Facebook and to Instagram, and thank you for joining us at our webinar tonight. So today our topic is empowering women through code/to code. So we'll be discussing, or we'll be going through some of the questions that you guys asked us, specifically about women in the tech industry and, in, I suppose, non-stereotyped fields, and I guess some of the challenges that we might face, or some of the things that we noticed regarding women being in the tech field, because it's a very male-dominated field. So, yeah. And now we'll just introduce ourselves very briefly so you know who we all are.
Hi, I'm May. I am currently I'm an alumni of Next Academy, and right now I'm a junior software engineer.
And I am Sandra, and I'm also an alumni of Next Academy, and I'm also a junior software engineer.
Hi, I'm Victoria. I'm also an alumni of Next Academy, and I'm working as a junior project manager at a software company.
So we're all three of us
are in tech.
So I suppose we can move into the first questions. There are actually three that we kind of grouped together because I think that they all kind of relate to one another. So these ones are from Siti Noor Fatima Nurdin, Narina Shah, and from Crystal. So thank you for your questions, and thank you for reaching out to us and showing interest. So the three questions are: what are the basic knowledge that a newbie needs to have before learning how to code? How do you start learning how to code? And what coding programming languages should I choose first? Mm-hmm. So, for the first one, which is just the basic knowledge, I think that you don't really need, at least at Next Academy and from our experience at Next Academy, because I think both Vic and I were new, completely new. We didn't have any experience with coding before we joined. So I don't think that you necessarily need to have any knowledge before you start learning how to code. It's like with any subject, you don't need to know it before you start learning it.
But some research is helpful, I think. Like if you Google about code and read about all these other languages and things, then I mean, you can do some research about it and decide whether it's something you would like to learn or if it's something interesting for you to progress with.
Yeah. I think it's gonna sound like so obvious, but at least be kind of okay with using a computer, because you will be using a computer a lot. So if you find
as long as you can type,
if you have difficulties using a computer, then maybe starting to learn how to code might not be where you want to start. Get comfortable with using a computer.
I think basic computer skills you would need.
But you don't have to be good with it. Just know your way around it, how to open a file, how to move your mouse around.
Yeah, you'll be surprised with how many people don't actually know how to do that yet, and they kind of struggle the first few days. But I mean, it's all learnable, so. Yeah, I mean, even if you come in fresh, not knowing how to use a computer, you will learn eventually, because coding requires you to use your computer every single day. So, but yeah. So, So how do you start learning how to code? So there are so many resources out there, online resources. There are books. YouTube has.
Yeah, YouTube helps.
Yeah, so useful.
Online courses, a lot of free online courses, free and paid, of course.
Yes.
Or you can join the Next Academy bootcamp, like we did.
Yeah, I think for someone who is, if you know that you are extremely disciplined and that you can sit and learn something by yourself without
someone teaching.
Then I think online courses or just watching YouTube tutorials all day can be for you. But for example, if you need more of a structure, then
or if you want someone to teach. Also,
because I think it's very easy to get stuck in the beginning, or to sort of not know how to progress. So
But it also depends on your motivation also, because there are a lot of self-taught coders out there,
Mhm.
and they are like really, really motivated, and they really study, and they really like try and solve their problems by themselves, which I think is like a really important skill as a coder.
yeah.
So, I mean, depends on the person, I guess.
But yeah. Anything?
Anything to add, maybe?
I think that's about it.
Yeah.
It just really depends on how you learn best,
Mhm.
and being able to.
And choose a way that suits you.
Mhm.
Choose a method that suits you.
So then the next question is again, what coding programming languages should I choose first?
Ooh.
And this one gets asked a lot.
I think for this, it really depends on your motivation again.
Yeah.
So depending on why you want to learn how to code. So for instance, if you're learning how to code because you want to build your own website, then obviously HTML, CSS, JavaScript would be where you should start at.
I think those 3 languages are already enough for you to get like a very, very junior front-end developer job.
Yeah, for sure. If you want to make a career change, I think
Yeah.
HTML, CSS, and JavaScript is
Yeah.
good languages to start with.
Yeah.
Right.
Good foundations, maybe, yeah. And then after that, from then on, then you can progress to like other backend languages or.
Yeah. And also sometimes I think people get very caught up with what language should I learn first? What's the most
In
In demand, yeah.
in demand language. Sorry, I lost me.
It's okay.
Yeah, the most in demand language. And sometimes it's not really about that, because when you learn one language, the foundation that you learn is actually translatable across different languages. So yeah, when you learn one language and then you move to the next, a lot of things will be very similar.
Yeah.
Or they'll be or you can get into it easier because you already have a really good foundation. So the syntax might be different, but the general logic is still applicable no matter what language you learn. So
True that.
and also I don't think many people will just be doing one language for the rest of their career.
No, I think they definitely would have to learn and also keep up with new technologies and new languages.
Correct.
And,
So
it depends on the job scope probably.
And also if you want to stay, if you want to keep jumping from job to job, they're going to ask you, to do whatever stack that they're using. So I don't think people should get too hung up on what language they're using. So
I think a good, like what we mentioned just now, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript are good starts. And if you are looking for a more programming, actual programming language, I think Python is one that is very easy to get into. If that's what you're looking for, specifically which language. But again, like what they mentioned, which one really doesn't matter. My first language was C, and I don't think it's not really in demand, honestly, but it helped me tremendously when I moved on to JavaScript and Python, because the syntax, while they are different, the underlying logic is most of the time is more or less the same.
And okay, so the next question from Evelyn Samanjuis. Yeah, Evelyn. Any tips to make coding easier?
Practice.
Exactly. Just immerse yourself in it. It can be very intimidating and difficult at the beginning, because it's literally you are learning a new language. If you're learning French or Mandarin, it's very new and it's very different for you. So it does require your brain to sort of get used to it, but after a while you will. And the only way to do that is just to immerse yourself in it.
Do a lot of practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Problem questions, all that kind of stuff.
Oh, I remember those.
So, okay, and this one was quite a cool question, I thought. So it's from Yoloti, who is a financial consultant, and her question was, how can coding empower women? So I think that so coding or like the tech industry in general is extremely male dominated. I don't know the exact figures, but I mean, I think you just need to walk into a computer science classroom and you can see how many of them are male and how many of them are female. I think the same goes for most
Engineering courses, probably.
engineering courses, science courses, maths as well. But yeah, so I think one of the ways that it can empower women is because the tech industry is progressing so quickly and so rapidly, and it's like booming all across the world. So and it's expanding in ways that people didn't even think of. So there's a lot of opportunities there for people. And so in this case, I think that because there are so many opportunities, there are a lot of chances for people of different backgrounds, male or female, from different like economic backgrounds or social backgrounds or educational backgrounds to get into the tech industry and sort of, I suppose, like promote their influence in these areas. So maybe they can think, so that gives them like lots of different types of perspective. And so they approach challenges in different ways. And I think that that's one of the ways that it can empower women because you will be tackling it, you'll be maybe creating something for women, for a problem that maybe women face into whatever areas that can be. So I think that's one of the ways that it can sort of empower women. Yeah. And also perhaps because I think some people are intimidated about joining, whether it's tech or engineering or very male-dominated fields because they are male-dominated. So maybe women might feel a bit intimidated to join these areas. So the fact that more and more people do join it because they enjoy it, I think breaks a bit of that tension and intimidation. Yeah. I don't know. What do you think? I think that's my take on it. Yeah.
I think like what you mentioned just now, like because it's such a male-dominated field, those who are underrepresented tends to be neglected. So like for instance, women are underrepresented in the tech industry, and as a result, our views and our perspective and our stories are not reflected in the software or the things that people build because it's really natural, like right, like we don't, unless we're thinking about it, we don't deliberately think about the perspective of another group that we're not part of, right? So I think coding empowers women by giving us a voice that we can, represent.
We can do it too.
Yeah, like we can do it too, and we can represent all the other women whose voices are not typically heard. I mean, it's probably not that prevalent in Malaysia where like gender inequality is a big issue, but perhaps around the world, like we can bring our unique perspectives and reflect it in the work that we do. Yeah, I think that's how coding can empower women. Yep.
And I think it also helps to like break some of the stereotypes as well of like what is a more male type of field, what's a more female type of job. And so when you break those stereotypes, I think it's just helpful all around because you kind of, some people don't realize that that they've got this like unspoken bias for themselves. They immediately think like, oh yeah, no, coding is like for guys. It's just what guys do. And it's this unspoken bias that you hold because either that's the way that you grew up and it's what people talked about.
Yeah.
So when you break that and you say, actually, where did this bias even come from? Like it has no grounding at all. I could join this if I wanted to do it. Like I could become a pro wrestler if I wanted to. Like, yeah. So.
Okay. Guess that's it.
Yeah.
So I think one of the questions was like, can you share your background and why you want to learn code?
Why don't you start?
Oh, me? Yeah. Okay. Okay. So my background is in physiotherapy. Yeah, I did my bachelor's here in Malaysia, and then I did my master's in Belgium. Yeah, but when I came back, there was like not really a lot of opportunities. I mean, there are a lot of physio opportunities here, but they didn't really pay well. And I think I kind of got bored of physio because it was kind of like the same thing. And yeah, I was like, oh no, I can't do this anymore. I need to do something new, and I needed something challenging. And then I was talking to one of my friends who is also like a software developer, and she was also an ex-alumni, and she recommended me to come do coding. So I was like, yeah, okay, I'll give it a try. So I did the bootcamp here for 10 weeks, the full stack one. We're classmates. Yeah, and yeah, but actually, I realized that maybe coding isn't actually for me because I found it really difficult to code. But I discovered that I really liked project management. So we were doing this like at the end of the 10-week bootcamp, we have like a 2-week
Final project.
final project. Yeah. We have like a 2-week final project, and I realized like, oh, I really liked coming up with the ideas and prioritizing the features, what needed to be done, and delegating tasks to my teammates. So I realized like, oh, okay, maybe I could go into project management. So that's what I did. So after I graduated, and then I applied for a job, and I got it as a project manager. So that's me. Sandra.
Yeah. And just like to add on, it is actually in a tech company. So she's
Yeah, I am
she's
still in
telling-
tech. Yeah.
she's the one who's telling people like us what
What
to
the-
do.
Yeah.
No, it's more like I plan out everything so that I make your life easier, so that you don't have to think so much on like, oh, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? I just give like the tasks and
Yeah.
like make it easier for you guys to just do, and then next. Yeah.
So my background, I did a number of things before joining Next, but I have a background in law, and then I was a company secretarial assistant at a law firm before joining Next, and I did that for almost 4 years. So that's a very long time to be in a field that I don't really like or enjoy or got much fulfillment from. So, and I think one of the things that drew me to coding, number one, a family member, joined the bootcamp, and so that got me really interested in seeing this as a potential future for me. But also, one of the things that drew me to coding and to tech in general is because the company secretarial field, there's only so much that you can grow and progress before you get to a point where things become very repetitive, and there's no intellectual growth. Does that make sense? Because you know everything, or not everything, but you know enough to like just keep doing. And so, whereas tech, on the other hand, it's so expensive. There's so many things to
Always
learn.
changing.
Yeah,
It's exciting.
exactly. So it was exciting, and I thought that as a career, it would mean that I would be forced to keep on having to learn more and more things, and keep your brain stimulated. And I think that that's one of the really cool things about tech, and that's one of the cool things that I like about coding, because they'll come up with new features, and it's like, oh, I need to learn this not from scratch, but it's like I need to now change the way that I'm going to be approaching something, or change the way I'm going to be building something. And so yeah, I really like that about the tech industry, because there's so much potential in different areas, and no two projects are the same, and there's always something new to learn. And so yeah, that's why I joined. After I finished the bootcamp, I actually joined Next Academy as a mentor and also a project. Not project. Junior software.
It's like, huh? Project?
I'm taking your job next. Yeah. So yeah, that's me.
Me!
Yay. Before joining Next, I was living in Singapore for 10 years and I have a background in psychology, but it wasn't something that I particularly enjoyed. But I think, like most or many young people, I didn't know what I liked. I just knew I didn't like psychology. But like you're in the program, you're halfway through, you can't really quit. So I
Yeah.
just like suck it up like a good Asian would. And I finished the course and I graduated and I was lost, right? And I went to career fairs and I realized, hey, no one wants to hire a psychology grad. And I looked around and I realized that a lot of the jobs were looking for computer science graduates. And being a practical person I am, I looked into coding, I looked into programming, and I tried it on my own for a while and realized that it was something that I liked. It was something that I was kind of good at, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to make a career change because I think this is something that some people would feel like you can't really compete with computer science graduates,
Yeah.
right? Because they spent 4 years studying the computer, and they're, I don't know. I just thought that
They're
like
qualified.
yeah, they're qualified, right? And
Yeah.
and I wasn't sure if I wanted to make the change yet until at the time I was teaching, and I really didn't like it. I just hated it so much, and I just decided, hey, you know what? Like it's time to make a decision, and I made a change. Like I came to the boot camp with the intention to get a job afterwards, and that's my story. Like that's how I end up from a non-tech background to
Working in tech.
to working in tech. Yeah, so that's
So like you can see that all three of us came from non-tech backgrounds, like very far removed from tech and anything related to tech. So yeah, I think for me it was very intimidating coming into like attempting to do the boot camp. Like, should I sign up? Should I not? I don't know. What if I'm bad at it? But in the end, it all worked out. So
Yeah, I mean, we were all in the same boat. Like, a lot of us were, like, we didn't know code and we came here to learn code and
yeah,
we were all, like, lost. And then we came here and then we studied. We learned so much.
very hard.
Yeah, we learned a lot of things and look where we are now, you know?
Yeah.
We managed to land our tech jobs. And
I would say I am significantly happier than I was like a year ago in my previous job because I hated it so much. But now I am like, I would say I am passionate about tech. I love what I do and it's great like to wake up to go to a job that I enjoy. Yeah, and that's our stories.
And okay, so
we will go
I don't
to-
think we have any other questions, but hey, if you have a question for us, please send us in the comments some questions.
oh wait, we
Do
have
we?
a few. Yep.
Oh,
Hold on a second.
I didn't see
Ah.
it. Oh, you have to scroll. Damn it, we needed to scroll down. It didn't just auto reload. Facebook fixed that.
Okay, so Anthony is asking.
No, there's one first. Hang on. Can you tell me how can I become a developer and how it will help me learn? I think we just mentioned that.
Yeah.
No?
So, okay, so you've done a management degree but has no software development background. So yeah, neither did we. Sorry. Yeah, so neither did we. But we managed somehow. So yeah, I think it's all about just, I guess because we joined the bootcamp, so we had lessons and stuff every single day.
Yeah.
And we were immersed in it.
Yeah.
So that is how
Eat,
we
sleep,
learned.
code, repeat.
Yeah, exactly. And also, I think a lot of people in our batch, and a lot of people in all of the other batches as well, they come in with like zero knowledge of coding. And you get people as young as 13 and as old as
50?
50 plus. Yeah.
There's a
50-ish.
50 one?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Oldest student. About 50-ish. So age is not a problem.
Yeah,
If
Never too late to learn.
Yeah, correct. I mean, if you're interested in it and you want to get into it, you can. It's not something like ice skating, which you probably should have done when you were young. I don't want to become a professional ice skater. it. So you can try, but you might break a hip.
Nothing's impossible.
So I think the thing about Next Academy is that we focus a lot on hands-on learning. So in addition, we do have lectures, but they're minimal. And I think the main way that we learn here is through building things. So we do learn to build a lot of things throughout the program.
Mhm.
So if that's what you're wondering, this is how our bootcamp can help you by just building things. I think that's the fastest and easiest way to learn. Just build something, and you'll learn a lot along the way.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's the practical, like when you are applying what you know and creating something from scratch, you learn so much. And you also learn about how to make things, like maybe you've done something one way, but when you can very easily figure out, oh, this can be done so much easier. And so that, again, changes your learning process. So yeah, building something is so useful in really getting to know whatever stack you're using. So yeah. And also because it's repetitive. So you keep on doing the same thing again and again and again. And that really helps to ingrain it in your mind.
Right. I think we have a question from Jean. She's asking, this is an interesting one. She's asking, is there really a difference in the capability of men and women in coding? So like, men inherently better than women at coding? I mean,
No.
obviously not.
Yeah.
That's why we're here. But I think people have this misconception, or rather, like for me, it was a very prevalent thing when I was growing up. Like as a girl, I was told that boys are better at math, and I shouldn't go into science or tech or engineering because this is typically done by men.
Yeah.
And I hope that is not as prevalent as it was back in my days. But I really
Back
don't
in your days, Okay.
like, I don't think men are just inherently better than women.
Yeah.
Right? What makes you a good coder is not your gender.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't feel like you're limited by what you're biologically given.
Mhm.
But rather, I think coding is determined by other skills such as
Problem solving
problem
skills.
solving skills.
Very important.
Yes.
Problem solving skills.
Logical thinking.
Yeah.
Critical thinking, things like that.
Yeah.
And
Thinking outside of the box.
yeah, thinking outside of the box.
Yeah.
Not your
Not by gender.
Yeah.
Not your
Exactly.
gender.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I got that as well, like when I was younger, that boys, like even when I was in class, like the teacher would say, oh yeah, boys, you should all be able to get this because it's maths. Like you're naturally predisposed to learn maths.
To understand math.
Yeah, being in the room, being able to calculate. Like that's not how it works.
Born
but
with a
I-
calculator.
Yeah, but I think that also because you keep on being told what you're good at,
Mhm.
so maybe they just have a bit more confidence in that respect because they're like, oh yeah, I'm a guy, I can do maths, I can do science, it's just what I'm supposed to be good at.
Mhm.
Whereas like for girls, maybe we're told that we're good at other things like
Art.
yeah, art or English literature, rather than
Science.
Dancing,
Yeah.
singing.
Yeah. rather than like,
Sciences
science-based
also,
subjects. So so I think maybe we sort of retain those biases, and then I suppose we can kind of like sabotage ourselves and think that we're not good enough,
Yeah.
to be able to code because men are just better. Whereas it's not true at all. Like just as anyone in a classroom has different learning paces and different abilities or different talents, it's the same thing when it comes to coding.
Mhm.
So I don't think that there is any difference between a guy and a girl learning how to code. It's just you're both learning something new. So your gender does not predispose you to
Coding.
to coding in any way. But that's a good question because I think that a lot of people feel that way, or at least a lot of girls feel that way, that maybe they're not good enough to be able to learn how to code, but it's not true. So it's not true.
It's a myth.
Yeah, it's a we hope that this encourages you girls who are actually interested to try your hand at it Even if you're not getting into coding, get into maths or just science if you enjoy it. Just do it.
Yeah, if you like it, do it.
Correct. Right. So
See
one
if
of
there's more messages.
yeah. So we have another question here. Did we answer this one? What are some of the challenges you find about being a female in the tech
industry?
That's a difficult one.
I mean, we just started
Yeah.
like 4 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, for us. So we're still also kind of new in the industry. But I don't think there are much challenges that I have faced personally, but
I think
Yeah.
the challenges
Tell
that I
about you guys.
faced had nothing to do with the fact that I am a female, but more so by the limitation of my intellect. Not so much because of like my gender. Like I think like the challenges that I faced were pretty. I think it would be a pretty universal experience if you are new. So for example, like when I was starting out, I think there were a lot of things that I don't know, and I found it a bit challenging because it was difficult simply because I didn't know it yet. But after I learned it, then I realized, hey, it's actually not that hard, kind of thing. So it's not like limited to me being a woman in tech.
And also sometimes like you don't know what you don't know. So if you don't know
Yeah,
what
that's
you
the
don't
worst.
know,
You just don't know.
Yeah. So that's why having a mentor or like someone to guide you is really, really helpful. In terms of like as a challenge as a female, I think I haven't experienced any because of my gender so far. I know some people say that they do. You read about that a lot, in newspapers and stuff like that. But I personally haven't. But I think maybe some of the challenges might be that they might be self-imposed. So again, it's like it comes down to your confidence. Like, can I do this? Am I not getting this right because I'm a girl? Like, would a guy find it better or easier to do this? But that's like your self-imposed, like what we were talking about earlier. That's like a self-imposed bias. It's not something external that any male colleague has made me feel incapable of doing my job. Like that hasn't happened. Also, we are in a very supportive environment. But we understand that not all
everyone's lucky like us, I suppose. I think but with that being said, I could imagine a situation where I'm in a male-dominated field. I think for us, it's because our company is generally like really, really friendly, and we do have a good gender, like male to female ratio. But I do remember, like before I came to boot camp, I was kind of worried about it being like I was just worried that there would be so many other guys and maybe not that many girlfriends and like girls I could make friends with. And that was one thing that I was worried about, like just not fitting in simply because this is a male dominated thing. And I guess like I could imagine a situation where if the company doesn't have a good female, like male to female ratio, they could feel like they don't quite fit in. So
I think that's like when you're the minority in any
situation,
any situation, it can feel like you don't vibe well with others, so that you don't click. But we have been, I think all three of us have been very lucky in our in the companies that we're working for, because we haven't really experienced any kind of gender bias or anything like that.
No.
Whether that happens in the future, we never know. But but so far so good. For us.
I think we have a question from Yoshua. She or he, I can't tell. I'm sorry. The question is: during your next bootcamp days, what would your advice be regarding the best strategy for understanding and grasping a difficult concept? Practice.
Practice and also ask the mentors. I mean, the mentors here at Next are really, really helpful, and Yeah, you guys are really helpful. Okay.
We try.
Yeah. Yeah, they're really helpful, and they really like try to explain it, and they break down like the whole problem into really smaller pieces and try to explain it to you. And if you don't, you can also just ask Google.
Yeah.
That also really helps.
And also, I think like, so I know some people, they'll try to do something like when they're faced with a problem, they will just keep on trying to do it, and they might bang their head against it. But I mean, you can only bang your head against it so many times until it becomes a waste of your time.
Yeah.
So at that point, please do ask someone, because like just because you don't understand something, or just because you couldn't understand this, it doesn't mean that you're dumb.
Yeah.
Or you're stupid. Like it just means that
You just
you just didn't get it. It's like everyone
It's
has
fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Ask for help when you need to.
I think for me personally, I find like with a problem in general, paper and pen can be quite helpful.
Yeah.
Like practicing a
Drawing
certain
it out.
problem. Yeah, like sketching it out, drawing out your thought processes. It could be like a mind map, it could be a flow chart, it could be anything. Just like draw out or write down your thoughts. I find that really helpful.
Yeah.
That's one. Another one is that I found really helpful was, in addition to asking mentors, of course, is speaking to your classmates. Yeah, like I can't tell like how many times I have an issue that I cannot solve for like hours on end, but the moment I talk to someone about it, I solve it immediately. And this is sometimes like, it's sometimes referred as like in programming like the rubber ducky debugging method. Basically, the idea is that you talk to someone and you go through the thought process behind your problem, and very often it will prompt you or like give you an idea of how, or like it just give you a new idea that you didn't previously think about. So that could be really helpful to like, we see a lot of our students talking to each other and helping each other, and that's really like heartening to see.
Yeah.
Peer programming.
Yeah. And also, it's not the same as copying someone else's code,
Yes.
or like copying your friend's code.
No
Like,
copying.
Yeah, this is you working together with someone, trying to like think of the logic and breaking it down. Because again, like when you learn something, I mean, there's a lot to take in any one day. So you might learn something and retain something that someone else didn't, and they might remember something that you either overlooked or you missed. And so when you work together on that, it really helps you come to developing a really good sense of logic and how to fix something or how to make something work. So you're right. Talking to your fellow classmates is very
Super
important.
helpful.
I think we have more questions. So this is from Sriram. Would it make a difference to revise high school maths before taking the front-end bootcamp, where the learning, would it be smoother or just jump in?
Not really.
Yeah.
I think like basic math is important.
Yeah, basic math
Like
is important.
normal computational math is important, but like high school math.
Differentiation, integration, trigonometry. What else?
I think that's more important
Binomial.
when you're going more in depth and more detail, unless you're doing more into like, if you plan to go more into like AI or
data
machine
science,
learning and data science, then you kind of need like the algebra stuff.
Yeah. Or if you're going into like gaming as well.
Oh yeah.
then you need a lot of,
Matrices. Matrices are really
physics
important.
for that.
Yeah, but front end, for our purposes, not really. Especially if you're just starting to learn HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. High school math is not going to help you very much.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I was really
No.
good at math, but it didn't help me.
I was not very
Oh, well, I was horrible at math. Like horrible.
But like
So
you're not going to be doing anything too
Too,
math heavy.
Yeah.
So
just normal arithmetic.
Yeah.
Like plus, minus, multiply, divide, remainder. I think that's about it.
yeah,
Right.
that's about it.
Nothing else. So if you are worried, like I sense that you're a bit worried, like maybe because you come from a non-tech background, right? So something that you could prepare yourself with would go on YouTube, look for tutorials for like basic HTML, CSS, and JavaScript.
Yeah.
I think having a head start would be really helpful if you're coming to our boot camp.
Yeah.
But otherwise, you don't really have to spend time on your high school math, especially if you didn't enjoy it.
Yeah,
It's fine.
that's fine.
Yeah.
That's like one of the common misconceptions I think about
Yeah.
coding.
All the time.
That we need to be good at maths.
Not
Some math.
Some maths.
Some math, yeah. Some
Yeah.
math is kind of important.
Yeah, and it depends again, like what area of tech you actually want to get into. But for the purpose of our boot camp, we don't really need to.
Web development in general doesn't require a deep understanding of mathematics.
Yeah.
But if you're going to like AI, machine learning,
Yeah.
data science,
That it is.
if your job is gonna revolve around numbers, it would be a good idea to be good at math. Otherwise, most of the time, basic math is fine.
Right. So there was another question here from Lalitha.
Oh.
Is coding important? And how does it help us to make money?
I love this. Is coding important? Yes. But again, it depends, right? I mean, it's definitely beneficial.
Mhm.
It can help you in different ways, even if you're not in an engineering, like software engineering role. It can make your life easier, even writing short scripts to automate
Mhm.
certain parts of your workflow. That
Increases your productivity.
that in itself is, I think, makes it important,
Yeah.
right? How does it help us make money? You find a good job.
I mean, maybe it is like a common perception that tech jobs do pay a bit higher than the normal average job.
Mhm.
So I guess that's how. But
Yeah, I think the value comes in
on how good you are.
how good you are. If you are
Yeah.
good, you can definitely command a higher salary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the best thing about like learning how to code is now I know if I have an idea, like a business idea, an app idea that I think can make me money, I now have the ability to do
To
so.
build it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I can literally just decide that, hey, today I'm gonna build a business. I open my laptop and I can start building it.
Yeah.
And that, I think, let's just come back to the part where like how can coding empower women? I think that feeling is empowering.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
I know that I have this ability to just create something out of thin air.
Yeah.
And it can potentially make me money, and that's a great feeling, honestly.
Yeah.
Can it make you money? Depends on how good your business idea is.
Yeah, that's a very I mean, another thing like is coding important in terms of like how you have a phone, how many apps do you have, and how many of them do you use? So in that case, yes, it is important because you are using them every single day. So you might want to, just a little nudge in that direction, but maybe you want to have a hand in what gets created and build something for yourself as well.
Or build something for others.
Yeah, or build something for others, make other people's lives easier.
Solve a problem.
So I think yes, that's one of the ways in which coding is important because everybody uses something that has been coded.
Yeah.
So,
If you pay attention, pretty much like almost everything you touch is gonna have some code in it. Like your phone,
Software,
your laptop,
yeah.
like obviously your phone and laptop, but like going to like just a grocery store, like go to 7-Eleven, the cashier that they type on, the software, code. You go to what's that? You go take an MRT.
With the tapping.
The kiosk, the tapping, the gantry. Right, a gantry code. Like you go to the platform, you look at the timing, like they have that thingy on the it tells you the time.
Yeah.
The arrival times. I don't know what it's called, but that is probably code as well. Like literally if you start paying attention, we realize that it's everywhere. You cannot escape it. Like if you can't beat it, you might as well join it, right?
Yeah, exactly. And also because because it's becoming cross industry as well. So it's not just the tech industry. It is now like marketing but with tech. Or it is finance but with tech. There's gonna be like tech departments in literally every single area. So yeah, it's very cross industry and it's becoming increasingly pervasive. So you might wanna, have your hand in that pie. I don't know what the phrase is, but something like that.
Piece of that pie.
Yeah. Something like that. But yeah.
Mhm.
Any other questions? Otherwise,
Oh.
there's this
Not
one question. Actually, how do you start freelancing? And this is from Forna. How do you start freelancing?
Well, I think like one of the easiest ways is to ask your friends. So for example, like if you already know how to code or something, and then you can just ask one of your friends, like, hey, or like people you know, or maybe like some nearby small shops that you know, like, oh, hey, can I build like a little website for you? And like that's how you practice. And if you do very well, and they will just recommend you through word of mouth. Usually word of mouth, or you can also build your own website and market it and share it to your friends on, I don't know, social media, and
I think having a solid online portfolio would be really helpful. Like,
yeah,
build something to show. I mean, you need to have something to showcase your talent,
indeed.
especially if you're meeting someone for the first time. How am I supposed to trust this person to build a website for me, and I'm going to pay good money for it, right? So having a portfolio would definitely be helpful, I think. That's in general.
Or you
I
can
think
always just start building for free.
Oh yeah.
And then slowly
Exactly. I mean, you need the experience, right?
Yeah, that's true. We could do that too. Otherwise, I think there are websites like, for example, Fiverr, not affiliated, okay, not a sponsored post, but if you like to sponsor us here, contact us. But yeah, like Fiverr, Fiverr. So there are sites like that links you like freelancers to businesses, right? So you just have to keep a lookout for these platforms. I think we do have a lot out there. So Fiverr is one of the most popular ones. So you can start from there as well.
I think also networking really depends like who you know, because and I think you start to realize like when you're in the tech industry that a lot of the time everyone knows everybody in some way or another.
Small community.
Yeah, it's can be kind of bizarre sometimes. Like, how do you know this person? But okay, because it asking you to build something for them. So yeah, networking. I don't particularly like the term networking because it sounds so like I do something for you, so you pay me, or like something like that. But I guess getting to know people and getting to know what they want or like their ideas. Like, do you have an idea? Maybe I can help you with it. Maybe I can build it for you. Or even if I could just, a restaurant owner, I can make your website a lot nicer than it is. And then you can slowly start building up your online presence from there. And then, by word of mouth, so people start talking about
People always know people who need a website.
I think, so that's one of the ways to start freelancing.
Nice. Good. Do we have any more questions? Let me see. No, I don't think so.
Shall we close?
Yeah. Before we close, so I think those are all the questions that we have. I think we've answered them all, unless we get any within the next 2 minutes or so. But if not, for any of you who are interested, we actually have our next intake in December. So December 5th, and so December. And so if anyone is interested in joining you can either join our 10-week full stack web development bootcamp, or you can split it up if you want to. So the way that our bootcamp works is that you have the first 2 weeks, which is front end web development. So that is your HTML, CSS, and your JavaScript. And then you have another 2 weeks, which is React.js. And then you have another 6 weeks, which will be Python backend. So you can take those you can either take it as a full 10-week course, or you can split it up if you want to. It's up to you.
So registrations are now open. If you're interested, definitely drop us an email and we will get back to you as soon as possible. So if you have any questions, do not be shy. We are here to answer them for you. So that's all. Let's see. Do we have any last questions?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think then shall we end it?
Yeah, let's wrap this up then. Thank you for listening to us.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. that like button.
Hit the like button. Subscribe to Next Academy.
And, oh no. Wait, how do I end this?
Yes. Yeah.